In one of the most daring and strategically significant military training efforts in recent history, the United States Air Force has played a key role in preparing Ukrainian pilots to fly advanced F-16 fighter jets near one of the world's most volatile front lines, the Russian border. As tensions continue to escalate due to the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, the U.S. commitment to supporting Kiev has entered a bold new phase, combining high-level tactical aviation training with geopolitical risk-taking. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Takeoff channel, a symbol of modern warfare support. The decision to provide Ukraine with F-16s marked a turning point in the West's military aid strategy. Unlike older Soviet-era aircraft, the American-made F-16 Fighting Falcon is a multi-role jet with advanced avionics, precision-guided weapon capabilities, and beyond visual range missile systems. Training Ukrainian pilots to effectively operate such aircraft is not only about handing over equipment, it's about preparing a fighting force for a new era of air combat. Recognizing this, the United States Air Force established several training hubs in Europe and the United States in 2023, including a high-security facility in Romania near the Black Sea, and later in undisclosed locations in Eastern Europe. These bases became the epicenters of Ukrainian F-16 pilot training, conducted within mere hundreds of miles from Russian air defense systems and surveillance radars. The pilots, from MiG-29 to F-16. Ukrainian pilots entered training with years of experience flying Soviet-designed aircraft like the MiG-29 and Su-27. However, transitioning to the F-16 is no small feat. The aircraft's fly-by-wire system, digital cockpit, radar interface, and Western-style combat doctrine presented a steep learning curve. To accelerate the process, the United States Air Force designed a compressed but intensive training syllabus. Normally, F-16 pilot training takes around 9 months. Ukrainian pilots had to master it in half the time. Training included simulator hours, live flight drills, emergency scenarios, and coordinated exercises with NATO air forces. The language barrier was an initial challenge. Although most Ukrainian pilots had basic English proficiency, the technical vocabulary of Western avionics and command protocols required further adaptation. American instructors often worked alongside interpreters and used translated materials while encouraging total immersion in English language communications. Training close to danger. One of the most controversial and daring aspects of the program was its location. A portion of the flight training took place at NATO air bases in Eastern Europe, close enough to the Russian border that military analysts raised concerns about potential provocations. American F-16 instructors flew side by side with Ukrainians, constantly vigilant about possible radar detection or airborne encounters. There were strict protocols in place to prevent incidents. Training missions were carefully timed to avoid peak Russian aerial patrol hours. NATO aircraft monitored the airspace overhead, while ground-based defenses stood ready to respond in case of escalation. Despite the risks, both American and Ukrainian commanders agreed. Proximity to the combat zone made the training more realistic and critical for operational readiness. Learning to fight like NATO. Beyond flying, Ukrainian pilots also had to learn Western tactics and mission planning. Unlike the rigid Soviet doctrines they were used to, NATO air combat relies heavily on dynamic targeting, coordinated joint strike missions, and extensive use of aerial refueling and electronic warfare.
16290.
American advisors also helped develop Ukraine's capability to maintain and repair F-16s, something crucial given the complexity of the jet's systems. Ukrainian ground crews were trained in logistics, diagnostics, and armament handling at bases in Denmark and Arizona. The F-16 training program sends a powerful strategic message to Russia. It demonstrates that Ukraine is not isolated. It is evolving, modernizing, and supported by one of the most formidable air forces in the world. While F-16s alone may not shift the balance of power in the skies immediately, they represent a psychological and technological leap forward for Ukraine's Air Force. Moscow has responded with predictable fury. Russian officials labeled the move a dangerous escalation, warning that NATO is inching closer to direct involvement in the war. In turn, the United States and its allies have maintained that their actions are defensive, aimed solely at helping Ukraine defend its sovereign territory. Eyes on the future. Today, several Ukrainian pilots have completed their F-16 training and are now back in Ukraine, awaiting deployment. The first squadron is expected to become combat operational by the end of the year. The collaboration between the U.S. Air Force and Ukrainian aviators marks a new chapter in international military partnerships. It's not just about technology. It's about resilience, trust, and readiness in the face of an existential threat. And for the Ukrainian pilots who now sit in the cockpits of some of the world's most advanced fighter jets, it's a testament to how far they've come and how far they're willing to go to protect their skies.